So let's go ahead and get started. So the last thing we'll talk about tonight is accessibility. And when I say that, when I use that term, sorry, I didn't realize I had transitions on this.
Did you restart recording?
I did, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Does anybody know what that is, or anybody have any ideas when I'm talking about accessibility? Has anybody worked with accessibility? Okay. So it's like I have there, it's a banner name for a handful of features. And as far as iOS is concerned, they include VoiceOver. VoiceOver, which I'll demonstrate, allows whatever item or element is on the screen that's selected, it will be read back to the user. So it's very useful for those folks that are sight impaired or have vision problems, that they can just guide their thumb or their finger, and whatever element they've touched, that will be selected, and then it will be read back to them. Whatever the actual text is, whatever the label is, and then what the element is. So it might read back next button, so that they know what it is that it's got selected. And
does it read it before it does it? Like delete would be a bad thing if it didn't read it first before you.
it does, because when you have VoiceOver on, there's no longer a single tap action. You have to double tap in order to perform that tap action. So yes, it would say, delete or reformat hard drive or what have you, and you would need to double tap in order to perform that action. Screen zoom is just that. It'll zoom the screen, make it easier to read. Color inversion, being typical sighted, I've never understood the advantage to it, but obviously it is, because you'll find it in all sorts of platforms, and it's readily available. So color inversion is just that. Whatever is white on the screen will be black. Whatever's typically black on the screen will be white. And then the other colors will inverse as well. So if something's blue, I think it'll display as yellow. If something's red, it'll display as green. So it XORs, it inverts the colors.
No, because it's usually red, green, colorblind.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. It's just when you invert it, it's easier for some folks to distinguish things. Probably along the lines of contrast. It's easier to deal with that. What's that?
Night mode?
No, not exactly. Not exactly. So mono audio, if someone is like hearing impaired, like they can only hear out of the right ear, they would want to use mono audio. Speak autocorrect text, and then voice control is just that kind of Siri-like, where you can use your voice to, like, say, next page, scroll down, things like that.
Is there something for people with tremors or Parkinson's?
Not that I know of. That's a great question. I've not heard of anything like that. And again, I apologize for the transitions. Okay. So why you want to provide accessibility, it's just the right thing to do. We do it within the Nordstrom app. So you want as many people using your application as possible, and you want as many people to be as comfortable as possible when using your application. A lot of times, if you're designing something for the government, or even like education, there's certain guidelines that you have to adhere to, and regulations you have to adhere to as well. As far as the technical reasons for providing accessibility, it's widely used for UI automation tools, and some of those tools include Calabash, and yes, there's an actual tool called Cucumber, and the reason why it's called Cucumber is that the underlying parsing language that it uses, or actually parsing framework, because it's written in Ruby, is called Gherkin. So of course, if you've got Gherkin, you have to have Cucumber. And then there's also a UI tool called KIF, and I can't remember what that stands for. Maybe keep it functional or something like that.
Are those all iOS specific?
That list I have there, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Okay, but they can't do other things. I mean, like you can't use them for Mac OS.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because most of them are, the underlying language is Ruby, and you can run Ruby on any platform. It's, lost my, KIF, I think works on Mac OS. Cucumber, absolutely. It's used a lot for testing web interfaces and things like that. So let me go ahead and demo VoiceOver. Now this is my first attempt at doing this. In